Hey, it's Dougie Fresh in the flesh. Had to give you my best to the last breath. Yes, I'm gonna knock you out of your comfort nest, my friends, once again, because I'm here with Vance. Vance is the author of Eating Vegan in Philly,
Right.
V for Veg,
Yep.
Joy of Soy. He's beyond an influencer in the space. He's a legend when it comes to research and just facts of what it takes to go vegan and support and knowledge
Right.
you share with people that want to go vegan or what's available.
That's
And
true.
you know, I share my journey here and there before. A year and a half vegan for me. When did you start?
Well, I went vegetarian in 1985, and I went vegan in 2000 after I attended Vegetarian Summerfest thinking that it was a vegetarian thing, and found out that there were reasons to go vegan that I didn't understand at the time, which
For what? For you?
Which were what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had gone there as a 13-year vegetarian, still having this concept that cows were this magical kind of creature that just gave milk for no reason. It was just God or whoever created this one kind of creature that would just always give milk. And it was our job to go and help them by milking them and then taking the milk off of their hands, so to speak. I mean, it's a crazy concept, but many people just walking by us right here still have that in their minds because that's what our culture kind of lets us believe. So I was informed that no, the milk has to be essentially stolen from the calf that it's made for. The cows have to be forcibly impregnated, their children taken away as soon as they're old enough to take, which could be one day. And that to me said, well, when I went vegetarian, what I actually meant to do was go vegan. So it was that kind of thing, that kind of knowledge I just didn't have because it wasn't easily accessible. But now it is easily accessible.
Woo!
So people, I like to say that people don't have the excuse that I gave myself back then. So I insist that people step up to the plate and go vegan.
Yeah, and as we said before, you load the bases to give people the information, really some of the facts out there. Can you share some of the information that would support that possibility of going and experimenting this route?
Yeah, well, I mean,
committing to experimenting it, meaning a month. That's what it did for me. I shared how it with my brain, how it like affected me.
Yeah.
Neuroscience, like the dopamine, the serotonin that got released, and it kind of hurt. People interpret that different ways, but
yeah, and there's and again, there's this concept. Well, you can't say one diet for everybody. You know, people have different constitutions. Some things are going to be better for some people. And I have many people who are meat eaters who each of them is apparently this bizarre creation that they actually personally are somebody who has to eat meat for their own, in order to stay alive. They can't possibly stay alive unless they eat meat. It's odd that none of them have been scientifically tested in the lab to prove this, but they believe that. So that's great. But for anybody who is just a regular person who's saying, well, I might like to try this, but I don't necessarily want to sign on to go vegan, I would say great. So try it, but have this as a potential goal in your mind that you would like to get to this point. And why would you like to get to this point? Because you're living in a first world country. If you're viewing this, it's very likely that you're in a first world kind of situation where you have privilege that other people don't have. So when non-vegans say, oh, well, what about the Eskimos, or what about these people at this one tribe in this one portion of Africa, that, you know, what about the Maasai, what about this? I'm not talking to those people right now. I'm talking to you. Yeah. And you have the resources, you have, you know, these riches very close at hand that make it easier for you to go vegan than anybody else.
And then before.
Those of us that are in that situation, I would say it is more incumbent on us to go 100% vegan, or at least to eliminate as much as we can of animal products from our diet in a concerted way, so as to balance out. If there are people who it's much more difficult for, then let them do that. Don't worry about them, worry about yourself, and just make yourself be somebody who is taking the privilege that you have and doing something with it above and beyond where you started, and helping to balance out. We need the world on the whole to make a severe reduction in the amount of animal protein that it produces and eats, and So if you're saying, well, I'll just go down a little, that's not the same as making a major reduction or living as an example of how being vegan can work and actually going all the way vegan. So that's what I advocate for people.
And by the way, how many articles and reviews did you do? Online newspapers, online everything?
Let's see, I did about 120. Oh, how many have I reviewed?
No, done.
How many on
different
written?
places you've been to?
Studies.
Different places you've been to, and did reports on different restaurants and.
God, I did like 120 some columns and like 75
journaling, journalists.
blogs. I did probably a couple dozen cover stories for the Daily News on vegan topics.
Yeah, this isn't someone that just went vegan that's speaking about some of this stuff. And here we go. What does that say? 1,100 gallons of water, 20 pounds of CO2 equivalent, 300 square feet of forest, 45
pounds
of grain.
Yeah.
One animal's life, and you went to Arnold's Way and did his something on him.
I wrote about Arnold's
every
Way
day
back in 2000.
a vegan does this, saves this.
Yep.
Every day a vegan saves
that's
this. So that's what's a little bit of at stake.
Yeah.
What do you feel like carbon? Tell us about the carbon. How does that?
Well, it's greenhouse gases. I mean, carbon is one of the greenhouse gases.
This is the world, and some people will do it for the animals.
Yeah.
You do it.